So, welcome everyone today to Mindfulness Moments. I'm Luann Fortune, and I'll be your guide today. Today, I'm going to lead us in one of the essential building blocks of a mindfulness practice, focusing on the breath, or paying attention to the breath, or noticing the breath, however you would prefer to couch it for yourselves today. And if you want to follow my voice, beginning with finding a comfortable position for yourself, maybe rolling out your shoulders a little bit. See if you can open up your chest. Maybe rolling out your shoulders the other way. Preparing your body, the container for your breath, to be able to enjoy it. And to sort of lavish in the process of breathing. And what I'll guide us to do is to follow our breaths. And if you would like to mentally count. Counting your breath, breathing in to 1 and out to 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then all the way up to 10 and starting again. It's a very common practice. And if you become distracted from your breath, don't judge yourself, is what they say. And return to counting at 1 again. And as one of my teachers, Thich Nhat Hanh, says, try to bring a smile to your lips while you're breathing as your thoughts gently arise. Place them in an imaginary bubble and allow them to float away. So at this point, I invite you can gaze on the screen where you might see some bubbles, or you can let your eyes go gently closed. And in that chest that is now feeling open and spacious, invite in the first breath that you'll notice in this moment. Breathing in to a count of 1. At whatever luxurious pace is right for you this morning. You might take a pause and then allow yourself to release that breath to a count of 1 again. And then as you take your next breath in to a count of 2, breathing in, allowing yourself to pause and breathing back out to a count of 2. And as you allow yourself to follow your breath to 3, notice if there are any thoughts that are coming between you and being totally immersed in your breathing. Breathing in, breathing out. And if you find thoughts are coming up for you, imagine you're surrounded by luminescent bubbles and place the thought into one of those bubbles and allow it to drift. As you return your focus again back to your breathing, breathing in and breathing out. And perhaps you're counting at 4 or even 5 now. And if you've lost track of your count, no problem. Return yourself back to 1. It's just a device to focus on your breathing. Breathing in And perhaps pausing at the top of the breath before you let it go back out into space. Perhaps pausing at the end of the exhale. And notice you might find a different way of breathing in this time. Maybe it's slower. Maybe it's longer. Maybe you can feel the little molecules of air as they bristle against the insides of your nostrils. And following the air down through your throat, your trachea, to your lungs. And then releasing the breath out once again to whatever count you are at. Breathing in, pausing, breathing out. And as you continue to breathe in slowly, or perhaps more quickly, notice how the breath leaves you also. Moving out from your lungs, up through your trachea, through your throat, your mouth, perhaps passing through your lips, or out through your nostrils. Sending the breath out into the world, just like more tiny bubbles. As you breathe in, notice that you're breathing in air that others have exhaled, taking into you. Breath from the outside, filling your lungs, releasing. Sending a bit of you out into the universe with your breath. And again, if you notice thoughts or distractions coming up for you in your mind's awareness, you can place them into one of those imaginary bubbles surrounding you and let it drift. And focus again on breathing in and breathing out. And if you've been counting and you've lost track, take yourself back to number 1. Because in this moment, this is the first breath. This is the first and only breath of this moment. It is unique. As it passes in through your lungs, pauses, and releases back out into the world. And as your inner self gazes on your breath with wonder, notice if at some point you come to know it so well, this breath of yours. that somehow it no longer resembles itself. And as you breathe in and breathe out, this is a unique moment. Yet also very, very familiar and comforting. Breathing in, pausing, breathing out. And if you've lost track of the numbering system, notice there does not need to be a numbering system at all to focus. Simply a channeling of attention to the present breath coming in, to the present breath going out. And again, if you find other thoughts, distractions, impositions are imposing themselves on you, place them gently into a bubble and allow them to drift. And you can call them back when you're ready. And if you haven't done so already, allow yourself to draw a smile across your lips. A smile for this breath, for this mindful moment. For the presence of bubbles. And with your next breath, make it a little more generous. Perhaps with a pause that's a little bit longer. And as you let it go back out into the world, begin to collect yourself to bring your awareness back out into the room beyond. Begin to collect yourself to focus on many other things. Begin to collect yourself to come back to the world outside. But you can always come back here, focusing on your breath. As Thich Nhat Hanh told us, breath is the bridge which connects life to consciousness, which unites your body to your thoughts. Whenever your mind becomes scattered, use your breath as the means to take hold of your mind again. And don't forget the smile. I'm Luann Fortune. Thank you for joining us today for Mindful Moments. We'll be back here on Friday, every Monday and Friday, And we also have mindfulness circles that will be coming up this summer. We'll keep you posted. And the audio recordings are on Spotify, on Saybrook's website, and also on the YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us, and have a mindful day.